What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 48 of Nintendo Noise, Flip Screen Games' weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always by my very good friends and co-hosts, Mr. Steven Radford.
Hello, hello.
And joining us again, Sierra Plus Ultra.
Hi.
Welcome back, Sierra. Thanks for filling in.
No problem. Whenever you need me, I'm here.
You know, Chewy's out here. Guy comes back for 1 week, and then he's like, all right, see you later. I'm going to go gallivant. I'm going to Hawaii. I'm going to go explore the world. All right, guy. Okay, I see how it is.
Better, we see you.
Right? Like, yeah, right? Okay, that's fine. You miss how many weeks of Nintendo Noise, but then you're fine to just go take a vacation. Pff, okay, sure. Sure, guy.
You know, I'm so glad he caught COVID before his vacation, though, because that would have been absolutely
That's true.
disastrous, though.
Silver linings, I guess, Steve. But, of course, we've got a jam-packed show for you this week. We've got some news about Xenoblade's Collector's Edition, potential Golden Sun movement, and in our talking point this week, we're going to talk about Nintendo Switch's lineup for the rest of the year and how 2022 has been treating us as Nintendo fans so far. But before we get into all that, let me remind you that this episode of Nintendo Noise is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of July. They are, of course, Christian Oliveria, Christopher Valenz, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Asobi, Mary Berry, Smilky Shake, Wakahula, and Zaid Ida. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You're all the real, still the real, and we appreciate your support of this fine program. If you want to get your name read on the air, if you want to get early access to this and our sister show, the Flip Screen Games podcast, if you want to get access to our Patreon exclusive podcast, One More Thing, guess what? Head over to the Patreon and you can get all those perks and goodies plus a bunch of more stuff. It's, of course, the best way to go above and beyond if you want to show your support. But if you don't have any money to toss our way, that's no big deal. There are a bunch of ways you can get involved in the show by heading over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you can find links to our Discord, our email address, both of which are great ways to get in touch, right into the show, get your thoughts read on the air, right in for our new start screen segment, maybe even suggest a main topic. But it's also just the best way to keep the conversation rolling with us after the show ends. We have a thread every week where we talk about this week's show and kind of continue the conversation a little bit. It's a good time. We have fun. It's a great, safe, inclusive community for you to come and talk games in. And however you choose to get involved or wherever you choose to check out our content, we appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for being a listener of Nintendo Noise. So let's start things with the start screen this week. And I found another little thread over on that their Nintendo subreddit that I thought was a good talking point. So this one comes from Dukemon102 over on the Nintendo subreddit, who said, "The golden era and the darkest era of your favorite Nintendo franchise. All franchises have highs and lows in their history, especially when the developers of the series leave it in the dust." And then he gives an example with his favorite franchise being Donkey Kong. He defines the Rare era, 1994 to 2002, as the golden era for Donkey Kong. And then kind of like the 2000s Jungle Beat Donkey Konga era as being kind of the dark age. So I thought this was an interesting prompt. And I thought, we could try to like figure it out together, right? For each of our franchises. So I guess it starts by saying, what is every person's favorite Nintendo franchise? So I guess we'll start with you, Sierra. What franchise is your favorite? And then let's try to figure out what are the golden and dark ages of that franchise.
Right. Does Pokemon count?
Definitely. Yeah.
That is the first one that comes to mind. So
that was my thought too.
So my golden and dark eras may more closely align with my personal experience with the franchise and like my life rather versus like how people may actually feel. And my upbringing. I feel like golden era was like Pokemon Gold and Silver, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. And then dark era for me was also when I fell off of the games, like I lost interest. So that was Gen 4 Sinnoh and that period of time.
Like the DS era.
Yeah, because and again, I cannot emphasize enough. Like this is just more akin to like the ebbs and flows of my like existence as a gamer because I was not during that time, and
Sure.
so like if I didn't not play video games, I played the Wii, but I kind of just like I really did fall off. Like Pokemon stopped holding my interest for like a brief period of time when like the Diamond and Pearl games were out. So like this recent renaissance of the remakes and Arceus were like experiencing those generations for the first time.
I remember
for
you
me.
saying that. Yeah.
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 So that's my and then I would even say like X and Y was supposed to be this really monumental thing, or was like the first 3D Pokemon game, but retroactively, I would even say that was a kind of weird time. But I loved Black and White, so I don't think I can concretely. Wow, that is one way to pronounce that word. I don't think concretely like say like uh that it was like from Diamond and Pearl to like X and Y, like 4 to 6, but that's like a murky time for
Yeah.
me.
I'm inclined to agree. Like Pokemon was my thought too in terms of like that's I think if, you ask me what's my favorite Nintendo franchise, that's where my head goes. And I would agree with you that I think the golden age is probably like golden silver era, Gen 2. And if you want to extend that into Gen 3, I think that's like probably fair to say. I think like there's an argument to be made there because I think that is like some people really love Gen 3 and some people don't, but like I feel like most people agree that Gen 2 is like up there in terms of highest quality,
Right.
I think that's like safe to say is like a golden age. It's like immediately post the explosion and like the kind of like, like Pokemania of the first generation, and then you get this follow-up that's like more polished, that we had the whole new decks for the first time. You had like that huge post game. Like I just feel like that was kind of the peak of Pokemon's relevancy and like it's mainstream popularity, but it was also like if they originally, I believe the plan was that Gold and Silver were going to be kind of like it, like it was like, okay, like this is it and we're gonna move on, and I think if that had been the last Pokemon game, you'd look at it and be like, yeah, this is a pretty great this is a pretty perfect execution on the promise of the first game and the ideas that they established in Red and Blue.
Right.
And then I think I am inclined to agree with you about the Dark Age as well. And it's interesting because like I don't necessarily think it's Gen 4, even though I think a lot of people probably would agree with you, because I know like Diamond and Pearl are like, depending on who you are, some people are like, oh, like the only good Gen 4 game is Platinum, and a lot of people are like Gen 4 is bad overall. So there probably are a lot of folks who would agree with that. I feel like I'm biased against Black and White and Black and White 2 because I just don't like them. That's the only generation of Pokemon that I've never finished. But even that, I feel like the Dark Age is more like what you said with like the 3DS era. Because like I think X and Y, as much as like that was what got me back into Pokemon, and there was like a novelty to it, and it felt fresh again for like what it was. I think when you look back on like what are the worst Pokemon games, it's all the 3DS games. It's like X and Y. I think Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are probably the worst Pokemon games ever made. And like that's like when you really get to the like, okay, like mobile games are competing with our attention against kids, so we need to dumb these down and make them like baby town frolics easy, and like like I don't like Black and White and Black and White 2, but like Black and White is like pretty tough in parts, like especially in the beginning. Like the game really pushes you down a little bit, and like 4 definitely has its challenges as well. And I feel like it's really that like 6 Gen 7 era where it's like it's the most like whack games to go back to. Like once you've beaten them once, I'm like, I feel like this has very little replay value. Whereas like I have replayed every gen prior to that, excluding 5, at least, 4 or 5, however many times. And like, I'll still go back to them and find fun in them in a way that like I tried to replay Sun and Moon with like Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and it's just like, I don't want to play this again. Like this pacing is shit. Like the story's not good. It's not well written. It's like there's just so many, like everything I don't like about Pokemon starts in Gen 6 and 7. What about you, Steve?
So I accidentally read the top comment on this thread, which made me laugh, by Aperoids, which was Warrior Land. The golden era was when they made Warrior Land games, and after Warrior World. But in terms of favorite franchise, I really struggled to think. But one I jumped on was one that is a series that anytime there's a new one that comes out, I'll end up buying it, which is Mario Party. And I think there's a definitive golden era and then dark age for me. Like for me, the golden age is GameCube. We got Mario Party 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the GameCube. They were all phenomenal games, but I think you can say the golden age of Mario Party was when Hudson Soft were making the games, and when they stopped making the games and handed the reins over to ND Cube, that's when things went downhill. That's when we got the Wii U game with the cars and like the weird shit that happened with that. And that's, I think,
awful.
when it went downhill.
It was awful. They were like, what if it didn't have a board? It's like, what? What? Okay. Yeah.
So I think for me the golden era is all of the Hudson games, which is anything up to the Wii, and then from the Wii onwards.
So it's like
when
1
things
through
really
7?
went downhill. 1 through 8, because there's 8 on the Wii,
okay.
And then you had 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the GameCube.
I'd say
if you want to
2 to 4
take it down to
is, I feel like,
2 to 4. Yeah,
I feel like
I don't know. I
those are
really
the
have a
real-
soft spot for 5. I really have a soft spot for 5. 6 and 7, they went a little bit off piste with like the microphone stuff.
You're right. 5 is good too. Yeah. 4. I think 2 through 5 are like those 4
They're
games
the
are
best.
fucking bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good answers. Good answers, everybody. I thought that was a fun one. I was like, it's an interesting question. It's like, it's a kind of thing I'd honestly would love. Like, I would do that with like every Nintendo franchise. Just like, okay, like what's the peak and what's the absolute lowest point this ever had.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
If you had to pick one that wasn't Pokemon P, what would you go for?
I feel like, I guess Mario?
Yeah, but then that's difficult because there's like
was there ever a Dark Age?
Yeah, but there's also like 2 different series as well, like
Right.
the 2D and the 3D, like they sort of coexist for a while.
I guess if I had to pick a Dark Age, I would say the Dark Age for Mario is post the novelty of New Super Mario Brothers, right? Like kind of like where we are like right now, or not right now, I guess, but like the couple years post the first few entries in that franchise, and then like when it was on Wii U, and it was like the 3rd or 4th one on 3DS.
I think it's the Wii U. Like we never got a proper 3D Mario game on Wii U. Like they made that standard for every single system from the N64 onwards. We get a proper mainline 3D Mario game, and we got 3D World, which was cool, but it's not really like a 3D Mario in the sense that they'd done them previously. And
it's
I think it did a disservice.
The last one before that was what, Galaxy 2, right? Which
Yeah.
is like 2000 and what? 10 maybe? It's a while.
I think it's earlier than that.
Is it? There's a huge gap between that and Odyssey. I know that much.
Galaxy 2 was 2010, announced in 2009. So
Damn.
it was a
Like-
7-year gap, right?
I'll tell you what. So I'm going to bring this up on the podcast in the future. I was making a spreadsheet last night with some of my friends where we were making a spreadsheet of every Smash Brothers character, the first game they appear in, and then if we had played it or beaten it to like see who had done the most. And I was like, oh, this is a great idea for a podcast. We got to do this one day. But like, I was sitting there rattling off years that Nintendo games came out. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's this year. And I'm like, why is this the shit my brain remembers? I'm like, oh yeah, Super Mario Galaxy 2010. It's like, I don't even know, like besides my father, I don't know a single person in my family's birthday. But I know what year Mario Galaxy 2 came out. Great. Good job. Thank you so much, brain.
Oh my god.
Anyway, let's jump into our first news item this week. The collector's edition for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, has been delayed. And it's going to be coming out now in September, specifically for folks in the UK and Europe, and it will no longer include the game. So I'm going to read the screenshot of the email that folks who did pre-order included this. I found this on the Nintendo Switch
It wasn't
subreddit.
even just like people that pre-ordered. Like I got this email as someone who'd purchased something from the My Nintendo store. So if you've ever interacted with the My Nintendo store, you'll have got this because pre-orders never opened for this. And everyone was like, when are we going to be able to pre-order this? This is coming out in like 10 days at this point.
Right.
Are you ever going to open the pre-orders for this thing? And then we got this email.
And what happened was it had initially gone live in the US and it crashed the Nintendo store. I believe the same thing happened the next day when it launched in Australia. So it's specifically Europe that is getting the short end of the stick here, unfortunately. But this is a screenshot of an email that I found over on the Nintendo Switch subreddit. And it says, thank you for registering your interest in the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition from My Nintendo Store. Due to unforeseen logistical challenges, we are unable to open pre-orders for the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition before the game launches on July 29th. We apologize for any inconvenience caused. To give customers the flexibility to purchase and enjoy the game at launch, we will now be offering the contents of the Collector's Edition soft cover, and this is like a parenthetical, soft cover concept art book, steel case, and outer box packaging as a separate purchase at a price that does not include the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 software. This means you can buy the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 game when it launches on July 29th and have a chance to pre-order the Collector's Edition on My Nintendo Store later in September. As you've already registered your interest, you'll continue to receive updates about this product. You'll be the first notified, blah, 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 right? Pre-orders are going to go live in September. We'll keep you posted, is essentially what they've got there.
Yeah.
So,
really weird.
Weird. And I saw a lot of people upset about it, you know, and like, I think if you were like really, really dying to get your hands on this, I totally understand being disappointed at the delay, but I'm interested because we literally just talked about this on the Flip Screen Games podcast.
Yeah,
about
I was going to say, we literally spoke about it.
Yeah, like no longer coming with game codes anymore and stuff. And I got to say, like, hot take, like this to me just like cemented it. Collector's Edition shouldn't come with the game anymore. Like that's how I feel. Because
yeah, I kind of think I agree with you because you've got the steelbook that you can put on your shelf to if you want to stack it out,
right,
and make it look nice. You get the art book anyway,
right,
and then you can you buy the game digitally if you want, buy it physically if you want. You've got the flexibility and the choice. But it sounds like they're going to be selling it with the game as well as like a separate price point if you want to. So
I got the
nice
impression that they were going to
choice.
sell it at a reduced price and just not include the game.
Yes, yeah, but it says it as a separate purchase at a price that does not include the software. So I wonder if they'll do a version that does have it like they're doing elsewhere in the world.
I don't know. That's like a whole other SKU, so I kind of doubt that. But I mean,
this is
maybe.
just a SKU for Europe, right? Because everywhere else has been able to pre-order it. Like North America is able to pre-order it.
You'd have to have
Australia
two European versions,
it.
though, right? You'd have to have one with the code and one without. And I feel like why bother at that point? It's like just have one without, and if you want the game, buy it however you choose to buy it, like you said, right? I feel like this should be the standard at this point because it's like this has happened multiple times, and it's like I don't know about y'all, but like I've had a situation where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna order a collector's edition, and then it like shows up late, and it's like, oh, now I can't play the fucking game at launch, and I pre-ordered it, and I paid extra to pre-order it and get it with all this bullshit. And I'm sitting here and I can't play the game and I'm watching everybody else play it on Twitter. You know, like that doesn't feel good. It's like, I don't know, like, do you need the disc in the box? Like, especially if they're going to bring the price down, it's like, fuck it. Like, what is, like, literally what's the difference? You know?
Yeah, so long as they're providing the ability to purchase those items. Like who freaking cares?
Yeah.
But like I get the frustration on people's behalf. Like, maybe you just like want it to all come in a neat package together and be able to say you got it that way. But I guess if they can't swing it logistically, is what it is.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting. Like, I
it-
wonder what the logistics were that they weren't expecting.
I don't know, but this is not the first time it's happened. The My Nintendo Store is notoriously bad at this kind of thing, and like even stuff like Amiibo that take forever. Remember my Diablo Amiibo? I ordered it from the My Nintendo Store. It took like 18 months to arrive. It was honestly
joke.
preposterous.
I was podcasting with Steve for like 2 years before that thing showed up.
It was ridiculous.
nuts.
So I don't know
will
how they
always fuck you up.
They
first.
don't manage.
That's for sure. Like, you guys always get the short end of the stick. At least
Yeah,
of
I
like
don't
the
know why.
major
Maybe it's, like,
regions. You know?
Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles isn't as popular here as it is in other regions. I'm not sure, but it's really strange. It does suck that they weren't able to do it. And I also wonder how much this is going to affect sales of the collector's edition. Because if I'm buying the game at launch, I'll be like, well, I don't mind spending an extra 20 quid to buy the collector's edition for a franchise I know I like, with the art book and the still book and things like that.
Do you still want it like 3 months later, though?
Do
Right?
I care when I finish the game and it's like on my shelf and I'm like, I don't really care
Do I
anymore.
actually need this?
Like, I know I've done that a lot of times. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's fine.
Sucker for things like that. I love art books. I love
Me
physical
too.
merchandise so much.
What do you? All right, here's a fun aside question here, and it's like a little outside the realm of Nintendo, so bear with us. But what is your favorite collector's edition that you own, and is there any that you didn't get, if you own any? And is there one that you didn't get that you regret not getting, and that you like think about? That you're like, I wish I'd gotten that one, because I have answers for both of those.
Me too.
Go
I
ahead.
don't think I have.
Are they Nintendo answers though, Pete? 'Cause I know one of yours might not be.
One of mine is definitely not a Nintendo answer. You know what it is.
Yeah, I think our answers are probably the same.
What happened? I just saw Sierra's eyes.
I can't think of. I bet you that I have something. And then when I'm like going through my bedroom, putting away laundry, I'm gonna find it.
It's like
Like-
12 weeks from now. You're like, son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah. So if you're listening, if I find this thing, I will tweet it. I will post it in the server.
Throw it in the Nintendo Noise chat and just be like, yeah, episode 48. This is actually my collector's edition.
Right. But no, I can't.
I have a couple good ones. Like, you can actually see some behind me right here. I've got the Shin Megami Tensei 5 one right here that Zayd sent me as a
I
wedding
need to
present.
unbox that.
It's not unboxed yet, but it's out on the shelf now, so it's one step closer to unboxing. So get excited for that. And I've got the Scott Pilgrim Special Edition that my friend sent me for my birthday. Over there, I have the Mass Effect Legendary Edition one. I have the Link's Awakening one that Steve got me, and then the Batman Arkham City one, I would say, are like top 5 that come to mind. I have the Batman statue. It's actually like directly behind me right here next to my PlayStation. You can't really see it too well, but I'm pointing right at it.
Nice.
Couple good ones.
I think for me, my favorite special edition is the Link's Awakening one. That Game Boy
Boy is so
Steelbook
sweet.
is so cool. It's really cool, and the art book, and that's really special for you because you didn't get that in America. So
No, yeah, I had to wait fucking forever for you. See, and that's the thing. If they hadn't put the dumbass game in the package, I wouldn't have bought 2 copies of that game.
yeah,
They're fucking with me, you know?
and I also, it's not really, well, I guess maybe it is a special edition in that it's a limited run game. I bought the limited run game of Divinity Original Sin 2 for the Nintendo Switch, which was really cool to get. And I think ones that I regretted not getting, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yep, that's my answer. It's
I want that
Horizon Zero Dawn
statue.
and Horizon Forbidden West. It's both of them.
And the Breath of the Wild one, to be honest, like that Master Sword that they had with the CD like soundtrack as well was really cool. And I was so close to importing the the Japanese CD soundtrack of both Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing. I know Chewie's got the Animal Crossing soundtrack.
good
I
one.
would love to get a copy of that.
That's a good one. Can you think of any that you wanted that you didn't get, Sierra?
No.
That's all right. You could write in. You could write in with your follow up next time when you.
What
think
about
of it.
special Nintendo Switches? Because I really want the Splatoon 3 Nintendo Switch, but there is zero chance I am buying it when there's a new Switch around the corner.
I really wanted the Animal Crossing New Horizons special Switch.
Yeah.
That was hot.
When that came out, I was so salty because I was like, I have no reason to get this. Then, when my Switch broke, the card reader broke. I had told my parents. I had simply told them the news. My Switch card reader is broken. I am thinking of buying an OLED. I thought I told them I bought the OLED. My mom picks me up for lunch the next day.
Oh no.
I get in the car and I look at my feet. There is a Nintendo Switch Animal Crossing box at my feet.
That's so cute.
I was like,
That's awesome.
what is this? And Mom was like, it's for you. I was like, no. And she was like, yeah. I told your father what happened. And he just was like, I'll be right back. Came back from GameStop with Animal Crossing Switch.
What? They just had one?
At GameStop, my dad went to the store and bought me one.
That's wild.
So I was like, holy shit. I hate to say this, but I already bought a replacement.
Oh my God. You're a better kid than me, Sierra. I would have been like, thank you. I have 2 Switches.
Oh
Yeah,
my
me too.
God. You would have given I felt so bad because I was like, thank you, but holy
Yeah,
shit,
so
this
thoughtful.
is $300.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, I was like, sorry, Dad. Like, I guess I didn't communicate it, but like, I don't need this. Thank you, but I guess I don't need it. It sucks because it's cool, and he was like, oh, good, I'm gonna keep it.
Hell yeah. I was hoping that's where that was going.
Right? But then it turned out he sold it or like returned it. I was like, come on.
Oh, dang.
Like,
Come
oh,
on.
Dad,
Come
know
on,
It
you're
would have been
Dad.
so cool to have him over at your
I
island at
know.
least.
I was like, Dad, I know you're waiting for Prime 4. Like, just keep it. But
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of Steve. You know, like that, like his dad plays video games and they can talk about gaming. Like my dad's frame of reference for games is like PlayStation. Like he's been out of the game for so long, you know?
Yeah, he sent me a text message this week. I'm gonna bring it up. It was just like a screenshot of not a screenshot, just a picture with no message, and it was just a picture of the Kirby game that he went and bought. And apparently he is in love with this game. He absolutely loves it, and he's been playing it to death. That and Pressure Wash Simulator on the Xbox. He's been playing.
I've heard about that.
badly.
Yeah, I saw
So
somebody on
good.
TikTok
No
talking about it.
The other thing, like not a Switch, but the other console I always wanted was the Pikachu 3DS, or was it 2DS XL with the Pikachu face like molded on it?
2DS XL, yeah.
Oh,
I remember the one
so
you're talking
cool.
about.
I loved that thing, and also like some of like the Animal Crossing one that only Japan got that looks like a Pop Tart.
Oh, that was so
looked
cute.
really cool.
Yeah, the pastels. Such a hot console. Yeah, that's a great one. I think if I hadn't gotten it, the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 Pro would be one of those ones for me, but I bid on that one hard. That's right behind me too.
I always wanted the like 20th anniversary PS4 that they did as well in the gray color with the gray controller.
I had that controller in my cart for like 100 years, and then it like shot up, and I was like, oh man, oh well, whoops. Yeah, I wish they would do that with the PlayStation 5. Like put out a OG color scheme of.
They could just do the like side panels that they sell, couldn't they?
Yeah, just in that like slate gray, like so good. I love that. Have you ever seen the this is the last thing I'll say that's not Nintendo, I promise. Have you ever seen the dev kit PlayStation ones from back in the day? And they're like
black ones.
They're like blue.
Oh, there's several. So there's a black one, and then the blue one's like the net.
It's like
the
this
net,
color.
Yeah, it's like net something. There's like a teal one as well that you can get.
They're so
There's a
cool.
lot of strange versions of the
That's like
original PS1 and PS2.
stupid shit I would love to collect for absolutely no reason, right? Like, oh my god.
I'd like to do that with Dreamcasts as well. They did like a see-through Dreamcast. There's a Hello Kitty Dreamcast. There's a Resident Evil Dreamcast that says stars on it.
I would like to own every Game Boy and like
Yeah.
make like a recessed wall. You know, like put shelves in the wall and like align the wall with every Game Boy and then put like a slot of plastic on it or like glass or something and like make like a fake wall that's just Game Boy wall. So bad. I want to do that so bad.
Do you ever get a custom Game Boy in the end?
I haven't, no. Got my OG right here though.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I don't know what I do with all my shit.
I know I sold my Game Boy Color. I regret it dearly, but I remember selling it when I was a kid.
This thing I've like I can't believe it's still in one piece. Like I don't think it'll ever yeah, this thing has seen some miles. I would really love to gut it and turn it into a musical instrument one day. Like turn it into like a MIDI controller, but that's a project for another day.
Pete, I gotta link you to the hardware that my bandmate Jamie bought. He got the Arduino Boy, which is like a thing you can like just plug into a Game Boy and then into a MIDI controller, and it just pulls the
Yes,
sound.
definitely send me a link to that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Will do.
Ooh, okay, cool. Well, there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. So next up, we got a little rumor making the mills. And I want to throw it out and see what we think about it. See if it sticks. So everybody's familiar, I would say, at least by name, with Golden Sun, right? I feel like it's like one of those like kind of that's like one of those dead dormant franchises that everyone's always like totally primed for a comeback. Like, you know, where's Golden Sun? When's Golden Sun coming back? So Camelot, who is the developer behind the series, has made like some updates to their website that has some art featuring Isaac, who, if you're not familiar, he's, you know, one of the central characters in Golden Sun. But if you are a Smash player, he's the assist trophy with the dude who summons like the big hand that just like pushes you off the level. It's like a point of reference, so that's, you know, what he looks like at least. And then there's like a little animation as well that people have found, and like just a couple other things. And a lot of people are looking at this and saying like, oh, like, you know, is this a sign of a new game coming out or like a remake or something like that, you know? Because obviously, like when it comes to Nintendo, a lot of times when they do update a listing or a page on the site, it does often coincide with an announcement. But I think a lot of people are also kind of like trying to temper those expectations and be like, hey, like it's also just as likely that they are just updating their website with a image of a classic character that they are, you know, heavily associated with.
Quite possibly, especially considering when you translate what he's saying in the speech bubble, it says the road we walked becomes history. So it could just be that it's part of their company history and they want to include it on their about page. But Camelot's been pretty active. They developed the Mario Tennis Aces game. They developed the latest Mario Golf game. So it could be that they are working on something fresh within the Golden Sun franchise for Nintendo. Who knows? I would like to see it. I've never played a Golden Sun game, but I do remember them from like the Game Boy Advance era. I'm sure there was one on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that around the place. I think it was one of the highly rated games on the GBA, and I never ended up picking it up. I'd like to go back and play some of them.
I would be interested in doing that. Yeah, for sure.
Same.
It's interesting. Like I feel like Golden Sun, like I don't have a lot of experience with it. I've definitely tried at least the original or maybe the second one. I don't quite remember. But it feels like something that would fit well in Nintendo's portfolio. Like granted, like they have Xenoblade as like a kind of like big, like, you know, expansive JRPG type franchise, but like I feel like its aesthetic is so different, and it feels more akin to, I think like it feels like a more classic RPG to me than Xenoblade, which feels like it is kind of like, it's like it's an open world RPG, but it also is kind of like the like action based, like I forget the word I'm looking for, like an action RPG. Like it feels like more akin to like a Kingdom Hearts or something like that than like a Final Fantasy. Whereas like I think Golden Sun is like a little bit more on that side of the fence. So like it's interesting because like I could see it filling like a meaningful niche in Nintendo's portfolio, or at least expanding their offerings between, Xenoblade and Fire Emblem. Like Golden Sun feels like something that could like probably slot in there pretty well. But I don't know. It's interesting. Like it's one of those things like never say never, right? Like Advance Wars came back, or it will maybe. I hope eventually. But I don't know. I feel like maybe a remake feels more likely to me than a new game.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, because the first game got a 91 on Metacritic. It's really highly regarded as one of the best games on the GBA, and I wonder if it could even be something as simple as Game Boy games are prepping to launch on Nintendo Switch Online, and so they're getting assets and things ready for like marketing materials to potentially be here's the box art while we're getting the box art prepped and things. We've taken the character assets and things out, and so they're prepping it for that. And if that's the case, I would love Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would love
that's
that.
my guess. It would be nice, but I don't think the IP is big enough to warrant a new game or like a remaster. I feel like the most likely thing is a port to Nintendo Switch Online. But I think for the people who are like core fans, that'll probably be a positive thing. I only know of that game because my boyfriend Jeremiah loves it.
I see. I thought that was the case. I thought I remembered
Yeah.
you saying that in a previous episode.
Yeah. So
yeah. It's one of those things where like I don't know a lot of people that are Golden Sun fans, but the ones who are like it is amazing and like absolutely adore it, right? So like to me that feels like it's so close to like Fire Emblem territory, where it's like Fire Emblem was like that, where it's like, oh yeah, like the two people I know that play Fire Emblem really love Fire Emblem, but most people don't really fuck with it. And then like Three Houses brought that to, I mean, Awakening before that, right? But Awakening and then Three Houses again kind of expanded that audience, and like each one has been better selling than the previous one. So like, why not? Why not Golden Sun, right? Like I think like a remaster or like a release to NSO or like, some kind of collection or something like that. Like maybe that could be a way to kind of like reintroduce it to people and maybe open up, the chance of them working on something new. Would be nice. But speaking of new games coming to Nintendo Switch, let's jump into our talking point for the week. So there are quite a few games coming to Nintendo Switch this fall. We've been talking a lot about, especially in the early half of the year, about how it was like kind of a softer year, and then kind of out of nowhere, the back half of it seems to have gotten really stuffed, and like granted, there's quite a few games that are lined up. We don't know if every one of them is going to make it across the bow, but I think even if just a couple of them do, we do have quite a bit to look forward to. And over on the Nintendo Switch subreddit, Pyro Meteor made a little graphic that was kind of like showing all the games that are imminent here. And I thought this was interesting, and I thought it would be like a fun little exercise to kind of like take a look, talk about what games are coming up, which ones we're excited for, and kind of like how we feel about 2022 as a year for Nintendo Switch thus far, and like some bets on how we'll feel on it by the end of the year. Because it's interesting, right? Like I think especially in the early days of the Nintendo Switch, like the first couple years were really like just foot on the gas, right? And I feel like by and large, people were in agreement that it was like every year was pretty strong. And it feels like the last couple, it's debatable depending on what kind of gamer you are and what games you gravitate towards. Like, I think back to like 2020, and if you weren't an Animal Crossing person, how much was there for you, And I feel like 2022 has had a pretty similar vibe. But
Up
looking
until like now, though, like
right now, it's like we're getting momentum. It feels like.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
crazy amount of stuff, and like there's even a couple of bigger missions on here. At least for me, it's like that Kirby game, which I know there's a big question mark on the August.
If you
space.
click to the second tab, it has games for 2022 with no firm release date, and Kirby's Dream of Fate is on that list.
Right. Okay. Is Ooblets on that list as well?
It is not. So we got that to look
That's
forward to.
another one that I think is another big release. It's coming summer 2022. I think that could be a big game for like August, filling in that slot for people who are looking for something just to dip in and out of.
Yeah. So just to go through like the Nintendo specific stuff first, and then we can talk about some of the third party. In July, we've got Live Alive or Live Alive. I think it's Live Alive.
It's Live Alive, yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Live alive.
Live Alive. See,
Live
that I
Alive.
thought, I was like, could it be that? That could be real too. Who's to say? And then, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. August, we have nothing. September, we have Splatoon 3. October, we have Bayonetta 3 and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. November, we've got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And then December, we have Dragon Quest. What is it? Dragon Quest? Treasures. Yeah. Which looks pretty good.
Yeah, where we can find the sands of time.
Yes. And then, we've got a couple other notable releases. Obviously, we've got Digimon Survive coming in just a couple days here now, too, as well, in July. We've got, what are these other games down here? We've got...
So it's River City Saga, right?
Yeah, River City Saga, Three Kingdoms, Capcom Arcade Stadium 2, and then
Gunvolt 3.
Gunvolt 3. In August, we've got 2 Point Campus, SD Gundam Battle Alliance, and then Pac-Man World Repack. September, we've got Temtem, Dragon Quest. We've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the Diofield Chronicle. October, we've got Persona 5 Royal, No Man's Sky, Nier Automata. I don't remember which one it is. Overwatch 2. And then November, we've got Harvestella. So it's like we've got a lot coming up here. And
There is a lot.
a lot of these games are hype. Like some of these are games we've been looking forward to for a while. So of these, I'm interested, like, which of these are at the top of your list? Which of these are like day one buys? Which one of these are games that you're like, I'll wait and see what the reaction is? Because I think for me, like, the list of games that are definite buys is not very long. I would say Xenoblade, I've kind of come around, and I think that's a definite. I really think I want to give this one the old college try. Splatoon 3, I'm definitely going to get. And then Pokemon, I'm definitely going to get. And then I think depending on how much time I spend with Pokemon, Dragon Quest, is the one that is the most likely, I think, to be the next purchase for me.
I just don't know if there's time to play Dragon Quest with Pokemon, and I mean, this is just the Switch platform. Like, I know everything else that's coming out in October, November on other platforms, and the list is just incomprehensibly long.
Yeah,
it goes on forever and ever.
And a lot of those.
You're telling me you're not going to be playing Persona 5 Royal again
I might be
on a handheld in October?
Yeah,
you probably are.
Probably, but I don't know, because it's like God of War is also going to be out right around then. Like that's going to be taking a lot of my attention, because that's what, November, right? October. That's actually good for me, because I want to play Mario plus Rabbids, but it's not a day one for me, and I don't have any interest in Bayonetta. So God of War slots in real nicely for me right there on the Nintendo side of things. But these other months, I definitely have other stuff that's going to be competing for my attention. So like these games are going to have to like come correct, to like make sure that they earn a spot in the rotation and like at the end of the year and everything too, right? Like in that kind of conversation of like what were the games that like really left an impression on me this year. Like right now, there's a resounding one Nintendo game on that list. That's bleak.
Kirby, I presume.
Kirby. Oh no, sorry. Arceus also came out this year. That feels like it was 100 years ago, though. So that'll be on my list, too. But, yeah, I think, like, obviously I'm looking forward to giving Xenoblade a shot. I am very much looking forward to being into Splatoon at launch and, like, streaming it with y'all and, like, trying to, like, get, like, I'm definitely trying to get Sierra to jump in on that day one, and I want to, like, do a little, like, try to get in ranked, and we could, do quads.
I hope the only game on my list is Splatoon 3, and I really hope that
that's the only one.
All four of us. That's the only one that I really care about
Damn.
from Nintendo's list.
That makes sense to me, actually.
Like I don't care about Xenoblade. It's another nonsense JRPG in my eyes. I tried Bayonetta 1 and 2. I hated them. I think the third one looks exactly like what fans want. It's more Bayonetta, and it's not for me. And, I'm not going in on another Pokemon game this year.
If you're not going in on Pokemon, you got to fucking promise me you're going to play Persona 5.
Well, maybe I'll play God of War instead, Like, I can't play everything.
You still haven't played the first... Oh, you're killing me. You're not playing God of War. You're not playing
I really want to
play.
I really want to play Persona 5, and I think we're going to have to get Zayd on the show to do a bit of a game club with us.
You got to play it, though. I'm not doing a game club unless I know you're going to play it.
And it's like up to specific points, and it's like manageable and workable, and not like everyone needs to finish this game within a week. Then yes, I will play that game.
All right. Okay. I guess we'll see. Now the question is, can I get Sierra to play Persona 5? That's going to be the next question. We'll see.
Actually,
I feel like you would fuck with that game. I really do. You doing it?
Yeah. I completely forgot. Listen, I bought like Persona 4 Golden on a Steam sale like 2 or 3 years ago, and I still have not played it, but I bought it with the intention of playing it. I'm very interested in Persona, but stars have just not aligned. But
they're coming to Switch
now. Now I have an excuse. I obviously am going to cop the hell out of Pokemon Scarlet. I'm pretty sure I'm going based off of what my partner wants to do. So Jeremiah wants Violet, I think. So that's fine. I'll take the dinosaur, bird, lizard.
Oh yeah, I love the machine one. I think he's getting the right one with Violet. I love the futuristic machine stuff.
I'm so torn. I'm really torn because I'm like, Violet is the bluer color, so I feel like I need to go with that one for the culture. But like, I don't know. I like the dinosaur, and I like the crazy cave woman professor. So
like,
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
The lady one is in Scarlet, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Cause like the dude one, I know everybody said he's hot and everything, but like he just.
they both are. But
he looks like a cop. Like he's like too buttoned up for me. Like I don't know. He that dude looks like a narc.
That's what we're all gonna look like in the future. What are you talking about?
I don't want to.
No, please.
I want to look like a reject cyberpunk character. Like that's what I want. I want to basically look the same, but like my hair color can be like actually neon or like have twice as many piercings or something, like low effort, cyberpunk fashion is like, I think the vibe.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to playing. If I was going to play, I would be looking forward to playing with Professor Blue still because I really like his outfit as well. I think it looks really cool.
He does look like Blue Steel. Our younger listeners are like, what are you talking about, you fucking old fogies?
What else? Oh, before I list out my games, I guess, did anyone else hear that Yoko Shimomura is one of the 3 composers on Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope?
What else have they worked on? I don't recognize the name.
She is the composer for Kingdom Hearts.
What? That's hype as shit.
I tweeted that. I was like, why is no one freaking
Why is no one talking about that?
Why is no one talking about this? Is insane.
Because, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and, I didn't know her name, but anyone who fucks with Kingdom Hearts knows that Kingdom Hearts music is on, a whole other level. Right?
Someone mod Kingdom Hearts music into Rabbids.
You know, I know Grant Kirkhope is on this one as well, and like he did the music for the original. He obviously did all the music for like the Rare era of
Yeah,
games. Like he was
Banjo-Kazooie,
very
yeah.
prolific.
Wow.
So like, I'm excited about that as well. It
didn't
feels
know
like
he was
they've got a
working
real
on this too.
dream team.
This is a
Yeah, he's
stacked
working on it as
team.
well.
Why the fuck did they get Yoko on fucking Xenoblade? Just, I guess it's a rare opportunity. You can only. But why did she?
Why rabbits?
Why rap? Okay, whatever.
She was like, I'm very excited to work on Mario. It's like, okay, I guess.
And then they've got Gareth Coker, who worked on the Ori games,
Oh,
Ori and the
okay.
Will of the Wisps, Ori and the Blind Forest. Did some music for Minecraft, the Halo Infinite
Am I back?
compositions.
Oh shit.
Whoa, that freaked out.
Did you see that? It was like Sierra was haunted. Like,
Wait. Oh, I cannot wait to see what that looked. If you could save what that looked like, because
we gotta
I
clip that.
froze and I was like, "All right, this is the indicator that my internet has gone out." I didn't realize that when I came back, it was just gonna replay everything that I just did.
I'm leaving that in there because that was something else. Like that straight up looked like you got haunted.
I cannot wait.
It's like that looked like the ad for like a horror movie where it's like the whole thing takes place on a Discord call. Like
Or like those truth commercials.
yes.
Or like fucking teenagers smoke a
You're
cigarette.
gonna be
and
all
they
alone because you're smoking a
disintegrate.
jewel.
Besides Pokemon, my must cops, obviously Digimon Survive, which I haven't pre-ordered yet. I've just been so busy. I'm getting that physical pre-order so I get the Guilmon pre-order exclusive.
Wait, what is
Uh,
it?
So you will receive Guilmon as like
Like in game?
in game.
Oh, see, okay, I guess I got to do that now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So getting that, definitely Persona 5. I'm definitely getting Persona 5. And I was gonna say Splatoon 3 as a maybe, but September I can swing that. I can swing picking up Splatoon 3 in September.
So you're
No
in.
doubt. I'm in.
Let's
in.
fucking go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting.
The squad is in on Splatoon 3. Let's do it.
The maybes that I'm like, I will pick it up if I have money are Xenoblade and shoot, I have one more. Xenoblade and
Was it another third party
Oh,
one?
SD Gundam. Yeah.
Got
if
it.
I have
okay.
money, I'll get SD Gundam. But
Is that the cute little ones? SD?
Chibi Gundam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the Chibi one, right?
yeah. My
They're so
boyfriend
cute.
and my roommate in 2020, their thing that they really like locked into was they bought like mech kits and they would build those. So like
That's a
we
good
get, like,
pandemic hobby.
so they get, like master grade, real grade, like the SD ones. I got Jeremiah a couple for Christmas this past year. I've always wanted to grab a kit, but like a Digimon one, just it's right. It's like a time sink. Like you have to commit to like at least a hard like 4 or 5 hours to
Yeah.
really make it worth it.
I have a bunch of friends that do Gundams, and it's so funny to me because every one of them has however many Gundams they've built, and they have at least 2 that are in boxes that they bought at a convention or at a shop or whatever, and they're like, yeah, at some point I'll have 6 hours to sit down and do this again. It's like, oh
Right.
my god. Yeah, I do not have the fine motor skills or the attention for that shit, but I respect it. It's like a hobby I definitely wish I could get into, but
Right.
I don't have it in me.
Jeremiah bought tools. Like he bought like something that like sands plastic and like little tweezers
That's
for like
fucking awesome.
very intricate. It's so cool. I miss watching them build Gundam. But like just life picked back up. But yeah, Gundams are fucking sick. They're so cool.
So you're in now. You're like, I need to get my Gundam fix.
Right? Yeah, right. I know.
I feel like we need a Jeremiah takeover of your Twitch at some point where he just does Gundams on stream.
He's very camera shy. I've tried so many times to get him to stream.
That's
The
like a
most people-
fucking, that's a thing. Like I know there's like people do that with like Warhammer and stuff too, where it's just like, all right, we're gonna do like a chill ASMR stream, and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting here
I would
Yeah.
fucking
absolutely
painting
watch
these
it.
little figures for. Yeah, it's like I bet you it would be relaxing as fuck to watch him do that. It's like, all right, here's this cool
Get
little.
some lo-fi on there.
Yes,
just,
right. Like what a
chilling
vibe.
out.
He's like, all right, here's my dope ass plastic sander. Like, get ready.
I would love it. I would support instant sub. But yeah.
Not everyone was made for the spotlight. I understand. It's okay.
What about on the no release date list? Because there's one in particular for
I
me.
couldn't find that. Where is it again?
So if you
So if you hover on the image, there's like arrows that you can barely see that I totally missed. It's
Yeah.
on the right hand side.
So on that list,
yeah.
there I'll read the ones that are on the list that they made. There's Kirby's Dream Buffet, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, I can't read this one. Front Mission something. I don't know.
I don't think any of us can.
Front Mission First. That's what it says. I've never heard of this game.
No idea.
Sonic Frontiers, Advance Wars
yeah,
1
so
plus
exciting.
2 Reboot Camp, Hogwarts Legacy, Return to Monkey Island, Life is Strange, Remastered Collection, Metal Slug Tactics, Sea of Stars, Star Wars Hunters, and Doraemon Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom.
And I'm going to add Ooblets to this list because I'm so excited for Ooblets. And
Yeah,
I can't
I'm
wait to
stoked
play
for
it.
Ooblets. A couple of these games I'm excited for, but I gotta be honest with you, most of them are not games I'm gonna play on Switch. Right? Like,
I'm probably like Crisis Core. You're not going to play on Switch. Sonic Frontiers. You're not going to play on Switch.
Porting that. or,
yeah, I mean, like,
that's the
Crisis
other
Core is at
thing.
least an old ass game, so like maybe you can make like a lower res version of it look all right, but like Sonic Frontiers is gonna run like absolute ass on the Switch. Like, I can't imagine that that's gonna be a good experience, and like, I'm not gonna play Hogwarts Legacy because of like J.K. Rowling being a transphobic bigot.
Yep.
But if you were going to play that game, Switch would not be the place to play it anyway, right? Like, again, it's going to be better on literally every platform it comes to. And I gotta feel similarly about most of the other games on this list. Like, Metal Slug Tactics, I'm sure will be good. Sea of Stars, Doraemon, I think all those will be fine. Monkey Island.
Star Wars Hunters exclusive, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I thought it was. I think that's the game by Aspyr. And I
Okay.
think it's a Zynga game, and it's coming to Switch and mobile only.
Okay.
So that probably will play best on Switch.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the
like-
PvP shooter.
I'm probably not going to play that game, right? Like, it's
No.
a mobile Switch shooter. Like, I don't know. That's not.
It's also just been delayed to 2023 as of today, so
There
that
you
one's
go.
irrelevant anyway.
And on
But
the Life
I-
is Strange, like, I love Life is Strange. Everyone should play Life is Strange. I think you should probably play it on another platform. True Colors came to Switch, and I know it didn't. It had some trouble at launch.
That was a newer game though, right? These are older
Yeah.
games. They originally came out on like PS3, Xbox 360 era. The first one at least.
They
So
are
it
being
could run
remastered
fine.
though. I don't know. I'm trepidatious. I feel like you're gonna have a better experience if you play those games on PC or Xbox or PlayStation
Yeah.
or somewhere else, and like, it's one of those things where like, I don't know. I believe that when I spoke about True Colors not running well on Switch last time, I think somebody in the comments was like, "Oh, they patched it. It's better now." And like, if it is, fair play, right? But like, I don't want to see. That's a game that I love so much. I don't want to see it turn into a Disco Elysium situation with Steve, where like, I loved that game. I evangelized that game for like a year. It finally comes to Switch. Steve tries to play it, and it runs so poorly that he was discouraged from continuing to play it, and he got far enough in the game that he doesn't want to start it over again. So now he'll probably just never finish Disco Elysium. And I genuinely think that's one of the best games made, not only this generation, but like ever in the genre. And like, if you started it on Switch, you not only had an inferior experience, you might have been like dissuaded from finishing the game. And like, I don't want anyone to play a game that is great that might run poorly on Switch and get turned off from the game, or be like, well, I bought it on Switch, so I want to buy it on another platform where it actually runs. Like, and I just, that's that feels bad, you know, like that's just not a
Yeah.
great situation. And I don't want to put that on Life is Strange Remastered without knowing that that's what the situation is going to be. But like,
I mean, I'm hoping that the fact that it got delayed on Switch means that they were spending
I hope
time
so.
optimizing it, honing it in. I think Life is Strange, True Color seems to be rated pretty well on Switch now.
Good.
So I imagine the patch has like tidied things up a little bit. It gets 78% on Metacritic for Switch specifically. So I think
It's
it
quite a bit
probably
lower
is.
than it is on other platforms, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still perfectly playable. If this is the only place you can play games, like if you don't have another console, another
Yeah.
platform to play, it's still
Right.
perfectly playable, and it's worth checking out.
Better to play them
regardless.
than not, I would say. But
Right? Like, what a shitty position to be in as like a games developer, a publisher that's not like first party to the Switch. Like, you can put your game out on the Switch and have it and risk it looking like absolute shit. Or you miss out on that opportunity where someone who like would not be able to play the game otherwise because the Switch is the only console they have just does not get to experience it.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
and it's
think it's
like,
what we've
especially
been
when you.
saying for months at this point that we need stronger hardware at some point to enable these games to come to Switch, because it's only going to get worse from here on in.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
gap between Switch and like the PS5 and the Series X at this point, it's so vast that third parties will really struggle to bring them. We've seen that with Skate this week. They finally announced that it's going free to play, and we spoke about it on Flip Screen Games podcast. But it's also been confirmed that it's not coming to Switch. The platforms it's coming to is PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and that has got to be down to the fact that the hardware is not strong enough at the moment in order to support it.
Yeah.
And it's particularly a shame because I think when you think back on the early days of the Switch and like how it was like anytime an indie game came to Switch, it was like, oh, it sells best on Switch, right? Like Switch is the platform it's been most successful on. And I feel like that's going to get less and less true as the hardware is not able to keep up. And that sucks, not just like for the folks who like to play indie games on Switch, right? But like it's bad for the platform, right? Because like you don't want that narrative to change. For so long that was a huge feather in Nintendo's cap with the Switch, is that like this is the best place for indies, right? Like if you can only put your game on one platform, it should be on Switch, because Switch outsells all the other platforms combined if your game finds an audience, right? And like I think I remember being that gamer who was like, anytime a cool indie game, I was like, bring it to Switch. That's I want it on Switch. That's when I'll play it. And now I'm like, okay, but does it run on Switch well? Like, would I be
Right.
better off playing it
yeah,
on
like-
Steam Deck? Would I be better off playing it on my Xbox? And even if I'd like it to be a handheld experience, like, do I want the best experience or do I want it on a handheld? And like, I like playing handheld, but like, especially the last couple of years where like we've been forced inside and like I'm not traveling as much and all that stuff, it's like I don't need games to be on handheld like that, right? So like if it's a definitively worse experience, then like no, forget it. You know, it's not worth it. And I'd rather play it on Xbox or whatever, right? Especially because a lot of these games are coming to Game Pass anyway, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
how would you like to pay for a worse version on Switch when you could play it for free on Xbox? Is like it's not a good feeling, you know? And like, and I see myself doing it less and less, where I'm like, oh, I'll just play this game somewhere else because I want the performance, right? Like I don't want to be dealing with drop frames and, you know, and like,
It's not even so much the performance. Like sometimes it's like visual fidelity, and like that means a lot in places. Like I constantly think about the Plucky Squire now. Like that game enters my head like once a week. I can't wait to play that game, which is the
Obsidian.
the game that we saw. No, it's the game that we saw at Summer Game Fest, in the Devolver game, where it's like the storybook, James Turner's game, the former Pokemon creative director.
Okay, yeah.
And they like jump out of the book and they go into the room. It's coming to PC, PS5, Series X, and Switch. And I always wonder how that's going to look on Switch, and what they have to do in order to get it to work. And it's just sad because I know it won't be as good as it could be if there was like more powerful hardware that people could experience it on.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because I think like that was such a common narrative like when we were kids, right? Like there was that period of like, right, like if a game comes to Switch, like it's going to be, it's not going to be HD, it's going to have some concessions, it's going to have this, it's going to have that. And for a long time it felt like we didn't have to deal with that on Switch. At least when it came to, non AAA games, right? Which like for a lot of them it's like, well, I'm not trying to play this on Switch anyway, right? Like I don't want to play Call of Duty on Switch. I don't care, right? Like that's not what I'm looking for. But now it's like even the indie stuff, you're kind of like, okay, like Fall Guys, right? It's like, oh well, it came to Switch, but like, is that really the place you want to be playing it? Probably not, And I want to get away from that narrative again. I want to feel like the confidence of like, I should be able to play. I should be able to plan to play whatever's coming on Switch and be confident that that's going to be the best way to play it, or at least comparable to the best way to play it, right? And it feels like that gets less true over time. But looking at this list, there's a lot of games that I'm looking forward to this fall, and I'm happy about that because it does feel like it's been a bit since I've had reason to really, dust off my Switch, and it's like been sitting in my dock, like plugged into my capture card since the last time we played Mario Party, and like I haven't touched it since Kirby, and I'm excited to have a reason to get back to it this month and like have something to, actively be working on over there again.
Yeah.
All right. So I think, Steve, this isn't a competition, but you lose. You only have one game. You only picked one game.
Well, I'm picking up some from the ones with no firm release date because I'm 100% getting Return to Monkey Island.
Okay.
And I'm absolutely going to pick up Ooblets. But other than that, it's probably low. I've got games on other platforms that are going to be taking up my time. I'm no doubt going to be picking Stray up this week. I want to play as a cat, and if that was on Switch, maybe I'd play it there.
Oh my
gotta pick that up, too.
Yeah, I wanted to pick that up, but I'm not gonna have time to play it.
Just dropped like today, right, or yesterday? Like
yeah,
today. It came out today.
Yeah, got to get to that one if I can this weekend, maybe.
Yeah, there's also Bear and Breakfast, which the Switch the Switch version at the end of July has been delayed, but it's delayed to later this year. It's also coming to PC still at the end of July, so I may end up picking that up and just playing on Steam Deck.
Didn't they say that it was delayed because they didn't figure out button support yet?
Yes, there's no controller support, but you can play with the trackpads on Steam Deck. It'll be absolutely fine. Like I play Age of Empires on my Steam Deck all the time, and it does not have controller support, and it works just fine.
All right, fair enough. You have to report back. You let me know if that's a good experience, because I do want to play that game, but
yeah, it looks so cute.
I want buttons. All right. So if you all want to write in and let us know which games you're looking forward to on Nintendo Switch for the back half of 2022, there's a bunch of ways you can do that. Head over to flipscreen.games, write into us questions at flipscreen.games. Come join the Discord where every week we throw up a thread asking for your questions. I will say this. I saw a couple of you get questions in past the wire. So if we missed your question this week, I got it for next week. I got you. Okay, I got you. Don't worry about that. But please do write in, right? There's a bunch of ways you can do it, a bunch of ways you can get involved. Remember, if you want to go above and beyond to show your support, head over to the Patreon. You can get a bunch of perks and goodies, including early access to this show, including one more thing, including becoming a Patreon producer, joining our exclusive Discord chat for patrons, all kinds of good stuff. If you want to, show your support, go above and beyond, that's the best way to do it, and get some extra flip screen content in your feed while you're at it. So however you choose to show your support, however you choose to engage with the show, we appreciate you. We thank you for tuning in. Sierra, thank you for joining us again.
Always a pleasure, my friends.
Hold on, Steve. I see you. Put your hand down. Put your hand down.
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
fine.
Okay, all right. Sierra, where can they find you?
I am Sierra Plus Ultra on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and TikTok if you're a TikTok kind of person. If you're not,
A talker?
I get it. A TikToker.
I tried TikTok for the first time this week, and I hated it. It was the worst experience of my life.
I'm telling you,
dreadful.
You gotta. It's like a pool. It's like
I was like, what is all this shit it was showing me? I was like scrolling down. I was like, I went through the process of selecting what I like, and it showed me none of it. It was showing
Steve,
me
I'm telling you,
football.
it
It
sucks.
was showing me all sorts of
It
stuff.
sucks for like a week, and then it learns you, and then it knows more about you than you know about you, and then you're like, okay, this is fucked up, but at least I'm getting some good videos.
What you can do is you can if you really want to, you can curate your For You page better by long pressing on the video. Then you can select the not interested and just repeat.
I had to do that for a
until it
while
gives
because
you
it was
the
like,
shit you want.
you're a dude, right? Okay, here's some man stuff, and I was like,
It
fuck
was.
you.
It was like football and
Yeah,
shit.
but-
And I was like,
Rock!
no, this is
Fuck off with this shit. I don't want any of this. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it was so bad. One thing I wanted to just say at the end, Mango, we haven't forgot about the Splatoon thing, but Chewy's not here, and so I want to make sure that we talk about it next week with
Yes.
Chewy.
We also got a question from Trendy Rendy about Splatoon that was directed at Chewy, so we're saving that for whenever he comes back from Hawaii, and his gallivanting, this man's out here taking vacations. So when he comes back, we'll answer all those questions. Don't you worry about that. All right, so that's the show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. For Nintendo Noise, I've been Pete. She's been Sierra. He's been Steve. We'll see you next week.